We're awaiting the special board meeting of March 2nd of the Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District Board of Trustees. They're having a special meeting tonight to vote on approving an MOU to allow seniors and small groups to go on campus for the last couple of months of the school year, along with some of the teachers. I believe they are in cohorts of 15 for staff. I'm not sure on the kids, but it's basically they are going to bring in the kids that need the most help, the seniors that need the most help.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move. I'll second.
Thank you. Are any changes or anything to the agenda?
No changes.
Thank you. So the agenda is approved with a 5-0 vote. Thank you.
That's okay.
Can we
Call the question.
call the question? Thank you.
Claus Graff, aye. Mike Fox, aye. Chad Wadsworth, aye.
Tim Jorgensen, aye.
Kelly Jensen, aye. Now we have a 5-0 vote. Thank you. And Mr. Wadsworth will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand and face the flag. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have a few comments regarding the MOU that we're asking for the board to consider this evening. So this MOU is actually an addendum to the MOU that was originally signed back on August 8, 2020. So the MOUs, any MOU you see coming before you this evening or thereafter are an addendum to the original MOU. The parties agree. I'm just going to kind of lay out some of the basic parts that the parties agreed to. The parties defined as the district and the Acton Agua Dulce Teachers Association. Site administration will meet with the Vasquez school teacher that has indicated they're interested in volunteering to return for small group cohort instructional support to discuss the student placements into the cohorts. Stable cohorts reflect the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health criteria. We're going to align with the orders, and those orders include cohorts of students up to 14 and 2 adults. You can also have more adults and less students, but it cannot exceed 16 in total. Schools can have up to 25% of their current enrollment at one site. So in this instance, we have 87 seniors, which are constituting the 25% or less of the total student population at the high school. Upon providing the association with a 10-day notice, seniors will be brought back for in-person instruction starting at 2 days per week up to spring break, and then after that point, upon mutual agreement with the Teachers Association and the district, it could be expanded to 5 days per week, again with mutual agreement. I want to explain one difference between stable groupings and stable cohorts. So whenever we talk about stable cohorts, we're talking about the 25% or less of the student population at one school site, not to exceed 16 in any classroom. When we talk about stable groupings, we're talking about the reopening of our schools. So preschool, special day class, K through 4, and transitional kindergarten, and potentially after your consideration, the seniors will all be under that 25% of the less, 25% or less of that student population at that site, and it must be under the auspices of students with unique or special needs. So that's different than reopening a school or a district. The exhibits attached include the practices and protocols for bus riders. It includes parent drop-off or self-transport protocols. It includes the student selection priority criteria. And it also includes a map showing the pathways and the drop-off self-transport screening entrance and the egress as well. So All of that has been agreed upon and signed off by the association as well as the district. And I do have just a couple more comments that I'd like to share. Actually, no, that's it for this piece. So that concludes my comments. I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Thank you. Ken, do you have any comments or questions?
I have a couple of comments. As I run through this, this is people sorting like I've never seen before. In order to get back to school, I have to segregate people into that group and this group. And this is the kind of stuff that the Amy Rowley case was made by. So there has to be, if you look at the conditions to let kids in and how they're selected, very, very bothersome. I would have fit every criteria due to no effort on my own. And so kids that have been working very hard and kids that can't work very hard. So we're going to pick those, and then we're going to dump it in the lap of an educator to try and pick out who it is, and it even names that person by title. So all I got to do is get on the phone and bully the person and get my kid in, right? This reeks of people sorting. This is Mississippi in the 1930s. That said, I will vote for this tonight because it is the only opportunity we have to finally get kids back in the school, regular students that aren't SPED students, okay? And what concerns me the most about this is the teachers, they really didn't have a choice in this. The administrators really didn't have a choice in this. We have the Department of Health, who has never had a role in public education, now has hijacked the whole thing. And we're back to putting people in little groups. I got the SPED group, I got the sports group, I got the English learner group, I got the Title I kids, so I can stack everybody in a little spot now and decide which cattle chute you're going to go into. So, when it's all said and done, when those kids walk back into the school, all it takes is me going to have a couple beers in a swamp cooler cooled garage on a Saturday with a bunch of people pretending I'm a biker to bring something back and bring one of those kids in and get everybody sick. Then the county is doing this on you. You'll never be open. So please, if you know your child will not wear a mask and will not social distance, then keep them at home. I have a child that's not capable of understanding what that is. She will be at home until it's safe for the other kids to be around her. So I speak from the voice of experience. This is not a place to put on your political views and wear your shirt and freak everybody out and get attention. Okay, so please, do not get my teacher sick. Do not get the other kids sick. Because if we can do this, now we can start steamrolling and opening the school back up. And that's what we've been after for a long time. So no offense to the administrators, no offense to the teachers. I understand exactly where you're at. I don't want you sick. You can't teach if you're sick. So I will support this, but you understand how I feel. Mr. Fox.
No, this is self-explanatory. I look forward to getting the seniors that can use the extra assistance back into school to get it. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Fox. I don't know so much that I agree with the analogy of it being in the 1930s again and segregation, but that being said, I think get the kids back into school, the ones that need help, the ones that are doing well enough on their own, I'm sure are going to stay at home and keep continuing on as they are. So I'm all for this, Mr. King, and let's get the ball rolling.
Tim?
I just have a couple of questions now. So, in a given scenario, Larry, you have a student that has a senior student, let's say, that has 2 classes that he's failing, English and science. He or she will only be able to choose one of those cohorts, and because they can't do one period English and one period science, they're there for that period, so they're going to, if they complete their task for whatever work they're doing for their English to get up to speed so that they're going to pass the class, will they be required to work in that same classroom, that cohort, on their science if they've completed all of their English work? They won't be able to move to another cohort, is that correct?
That's a great question, to be honest, and I'll have to follow up with you, Mr. Jorgensen. I would say one cohort per student. The only folks that are allowed to be in two cohorts is a teacher. So I think the way you described it is accurate to my way of thinking. If they're in one cohort, that's their cohort. Having said that, I think my question, and I'll probably ask it Thursday to the LA County Department of Public Health at our meeting, is there a distance, right? So if you completed your math work, to use your example, and then they went back home for distance learning for a period of, a week, could they then the subsequent week go into a different cohort for science assistants? Or would they have to wait 2 weeks or 10 days? So I don't know, I think it's a great question, and I'll follow up on that.
Okay, because I can envision that we will have students that have challenges in more than one class. So even if it's a cohort for that day, okay, this day, Monday, I can only come and work on English. Okay, on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever the next day is, working out that the student and the staff giving, okay, I'm way down, I'm at 1.5 here, and I'm only at 2.5 in another. There just needs to be some coordination as to whether they can, from one day apart, or like you're saying, 1 week apart, say, okay, I finished, I'm all caught up on my English, now I need to focus on my science or math or whatever it is. Can I get shipped over to there so they can have maximum use of this until we get everybody back? I just don't want any confusion. That was the only question I had. Thanks, Madam President.
Thank you very much. I don't really have a lot of questions. I just want to thank our bargaining units for working together, getting this MOU through so we can help our seniors. I'd like to see all of our students graduate. Of course, we'd like to see all of our students back in school safely, as well as our teachers. And of course, we want to do so and make sure that we have all the right protocols going in the county so that everyone's safe. So I'd just like to thank everyone for their hard work, and looking forward to getting as many students as we can back in a timely manner. And I know that vaccines are available and coming soon, so I look forward to that for the people that wish to get their vaccine as well. So with that, we are not going into closed session this evening. So if there's not any more questions or comments, we'll move on to the calendar. Oh, sorry, got to take the vote. I keep forgetting to vote tonight for some reason. All right, let's take the vote.
Ballsgraf, aye. Fox, aye.
Chad Wadsworth, aye.
Tim Jorgensen, aye.
Kelly Jensen, aye. So that is a 5-0. So that goes. Thank you.
Just gentlemen, facilitate, can I make a few concluding comments?
Thank you. Yes.
So just a couple of thoughts, and thank you, board, for the support on this MOU. Just a couple thoughts I have in closing. We are planning for the reopening of our students in grades K through 6. We do have an MOU that we're working on. The teachers are entitled to a 10-day notification prior to returning to the classroom. So to that end, I'm going to announce a couple of dates in just a moment. We have that case memo that we would like to bring to you as soon as possible. And so I just want to give the board a heads up and be aware that we may call another special board meeting. It could be very short like this, where we can bring forward another MOU, and there may not be a lot of advance notice. I think to expedite things, we may want to take advantage of the ability to do a 24-hour notification to a special board meeting so that we can do our part and our due diligence to quickly approve this as quickly as possible. The COVID-19 safety plan, there's a couple things pending this, the reopening of our schools. One is the COVID-19 safety plan. So if the public and board recall, we have stated to submit many plans and reports. We will reopen in a hybrid format as we've been discussing. So now I'm talking about the reopening of schools as opposed to the cohorts that we just approved tonight. So in this reopening, we're talking about
2 half-days per week in this hybrid model. So Group A could go Monday, Tuesday morning, and Group B could go Thursday, Friday morning. The afternoons would be left open for the teachers to continue their virtual online instruction. Wednesday would be left open for deep cleaning and disinfecting, and prep time for the teachers as well, and also some online instruction. We will, we're looking at opening for the students in grades K through 2 on March 15th, along with our senior cohorts, which we just approved this evening, which coincides with the third trimester for our elementary school students. We'll reopen for students in grades 3 through 6 on March 22nd, which coincides with the beginning of the fourth quarter grading period. And thank you for letting me make those comments. Are there any questions on that?
We can go around once.
Kelly, my understanding of what you just said is that, first off, if we have to call a special board meeting, we're not going to do 3 days notice and delay the process. So I hope everybody up there understands that. When you watch the district site, and if you see something that says we're having a special board meeting, no one's trying to hide anything, we're trying to expedite. Next is, for this March 15th for K through 2 and 3 to 6 on the 22nd, you are still pending an MOU to make that happen.
That's correct. That's a
So we're 14 days away from, or 13 days away from giving the teachers 10 days notice, which means you need to have this MOU locked up in 3 days. That's my understanding.
That's accurate.
Okay, so I'm glad that's in the record, and I'm done.
Okay, let me, I understand the 10-day clock, but should the MOU not wrap up within 3 days, is it possible you've still given notice, so at any point within that 10 days we can approve the MOU? I mean, you know, because they're reviewing it, you're reviewing it.
Sorry.
I just want to be very, I mean,
Yeah, so, yeah, 'cause that's why I made the announcement tonight, because now the 10 days is out. Thank you.
so the clock is ticking,
Yeah.
although it is subject to approval, but we are hoping that the teachers not only will work with us to approve, but they'll be flexible enough that they'll say, this is the 10-day interval start, so we can hit those dates, even if the MOU takes a couple more days to approve, then also 10 days prior.
Correct.
Okay. A lot of moving parts, but thank you. Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Tim?
No, just good news, we'll get going on this.
Move back to me. So legally, something funny, Mr. Wadsworth?
No, sir.
Good. So legally, we do not have to give the teachers the wait 10 days after they sign the MOU. Is that my understanding?
Correct. The 10 days is occurring now because I've announced the reopening.
Okay. So hopefully everybody's close and no one is feeling pressured. So thank you. Good.
Just to talk about something Ken talked about previously is making sure the board knows that we might have to call some meetings so that we can get the ball rolling.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure everybody understands that we'll be doing the 24 hours, which is required, and we are following what we need to be doing. So this is just all around good news for our students, and I do care about our teachers and our staff very much, including our classified, so I just want to thank everyone for really just getting together and making this work. So thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, just announcing that we do have a special board meeting on March 6th from, is it 8?
8:30?
8:30 to 1 o'clock?
To 1:30.
8:30 to 1:30, okay. And then March 11th is our regular board meeting, unless we have another meeting that we have to call before. So with that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 6:55. Can I get a motion?
To close session, I'll move.
Chad Walker, second. I didn't think we were going to close session.
We're not going to close session.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I think we're just adjourning.
we're just adjourning, yeah, we need a motion to adjourn, we're not going into closed session. Okay, so
So now we just have to vote.
go call the question, yeah.
Roscoe, aye.
Fox, aye. Chad Walker, aye.
Tim Jorgensen, aye.
Kelly Johnson, aye. That's a 5-0 vote. Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourning the meeting at 6:00.